In a world drowning in self-proclaimed experts and echo chambers of false certainty, here's a brutal truth that Socrates hurled at his contemporaries like a thunderbolt. Most of what you think you know is utter delusion, a veil of ignorance masquerading as wisdom that corrupts your soul and poisons society. Picture the philosopher, unyielding and unafraid, declaring to the smug elites of Athens, "You fancy yourselves wise, but you know nothing, and worse, you don't even realize it." This isn't gentle philosophy. It's a shock to the system, designed to jolt you from complacency into raw, uncomfortable reflection. Socrates, condemned for his audacity, exposed the rot at the heart of human hubris. Politicians who wield power without virtue, teachers who peddle sophistry for profit, and citizens who chase shadows of success while ignoring the light of truth. His words sting because they mirror our age, where social media sages spout unexamined opinions, corporations corrupt justice for gain, and individuals surrender authenticity to fit the mold. The unexamined life is not worth living, he proclaimed at his trial, a statement so direct it forces jurors to confront their own moral bankruptcy, leading to his death sentence. Yet this shock isn't destruction, it's liberation. By admitting our ignorance, we begin the real quest for knowledge. Socrates' uncompromising stance stays discomfort, yes, perhaps anger or denial, but that's the point. It forces you, modern warrior, to peel back the layers of pretense and face the void within. Are you brave enough to endure this truth? Or will you cling to illusions, dooming yourself to a hollow existence? Let this bold declaration unsettle you, for in the rubble of shattered certainties lies the foundation of true strength and virtue. This is Socratic Spark, where ancient wisdom meets modern success. If you love timeless lessons and powerful motivation, hit subscribe and let's grow together. Listen closely, dear seeker, as if we were seated together under the olive trees of ancient Athens, the wind carrying whispers of forgotten wisdom. Socrates isn't a dusty relic confined to yellowed pages or marble busts in museums. He's a vibrant force, a gadfly buzzing insistently in your ear, urging you to awaken from the slumber of routine. Born around 469 BCE to humble origins, a stonemason father and midwife mother, he rose not through wealth or warfare, but through the sheer power of inquiry. He fought valiantly in battles like Potidaea, saving lives with heroic deeds. Yet his true war was against ignorance, waged in the marketplaces where he questioned all who crossed his path. Accused of impiety and corrupting the youth, he faced his trial with serene defiance, sipping hemlock in 399 BC as his final act of philosophical integrity. Through Plato's dialogues, Apology, Crito, Phaedo, we hear his voice, raw and resonant, challenging us across the ages. Why does this matter to you in an era of algorithms dictating truths and societies fractured by division? Socrates' philosophy cuts through the noise like a lantern in fog. His mantra, "The unexamined life is not worth living," from the Apology, isn't abstract musing. It's a call to arms for modern warriors battling conformity, misinformation, and existential drift. In a world where power corrupts and justice falters, his relentless pursuit of truth, questioning assumptions, exposing hypocrisies, equips you to navigate ethical minefields. He confronted the sophists, those slick debaters who twisted words to gain, much like today's spin doctors and influencers. His belief that virtue is knowledge, that true wisdom lies in recognizing one's limits, offers solace amid personal struggles, the doubt in your career choices, the injustice in your communities, the search for purpose in a materialistic age. Misunderstood in his time, branded a troublemaker by the elite, yet beloved by the youth he inspired, Socrates became immortal through his legacy. Condemned by Athens, he was vindicated by history, influencing Plato's ideal forms, Aristotle's ethics, and ripples through Augustine's Confessions, Nietzsche for the power, and even contemporary thinkers like Martin Luther King Jr., who echoed Socratic civil disobedience. Engaging with him isn't passive reading, it's active transformation. Promise yourself this. By delving into his lessons, you'll gain sharper clarity about your inner world, the courage to live authentically against the tide, and profound reverence for truth over comfort. Feel his presence now, speaking softly yet urgently, as if guiding you alone through the labyrinth of life. Let us journey together into his wisdom, where questions become weapons, and self-examination the shield of the soul. In the restless churn of life, where decisions weigh like unspoken regrets, where the world presses you to accept its truths without pause. Imagine the spark of a single question igniting clarity in the darkness. This is where Socrates begins his assault on complacency, urging you, modern warrior, to summon the courage to question everything. The gods you worship, the leaders you follow, the beliefs you hold dear. Picture him in the sun-drenched agora of Athens, 399 BCE, a stout figure with a probing gaze, his bare feet dusted with the earth of the marketplace. He approaches a young warrior, fresh from the battles of Potidæa, his armor still gleaming with pride. What is bravery? Socrates asks, not to mock, but to unravel the threads of assumption. The youth speaks of heroic deeds, slaying foes, defending the city, but Socrates presses deeper. Is bravery not also standing firm against your own fears, even in the quiet of peace? As recorded in Plato's Laches, this dialogue strips away bravado, revealing that true courage lies in questioning what you think you know. Socrates' life was a testament to this audacity. In Plato's Gorgias, we see him sparring with the sophists, those slick rhetoricians who sold persuasive words for profit, much like today's influencers or corporate spin doctors. He challenged Gorgias, a master of oratory, asking, "If you persuade unjustly, have you not lost more than you gained?" His questions exposed their hollow wisdom, earning him enemies among the powerful. Yet he persisted, a gadfly stinging Athens awake, as he describes himself in Apology. "I am that gadfly which God has attached to the state, arousing and persuading and reproaching you." This courage wasn't made defiance. It was a disciplined pursuit of truth, requiring vulnerability to admit uncertainty in a world that rewards false certainty. His influence echoes through history. Plato built his academy on the Socratic method of inquiry. Aristotle refined logic from its roots. Augustine wove it into Christian theology. And Nietzsche, in Twilight of the Idols, called Socrates a turning point of Western thought, both critiquing and admiring his disruptive force. Modern truth-seekers, whistleblowers like Edward Snowden or activists like Malala Yousafzai, carry this torch, questioning oppressive systems at great personal risk. How do you, today, embody this courage? In a boardroom where unethical directives are cloaked as strategy, ask, does this align with justice? In a heated social media debate, pause and probe, what evidence supports my stance? The Socratic method, or elenchus, is your tool. Ask why, then ask why again, until contradictions unravel and clarity emerges. Start small. Question your habits. Why do you scroll endlessly? What virtue does it serve? Journal your answers, refining your beliefs like a sculptor chiseling stone. Socrates' trial and apology shows this in action. Accused by Meletus and Anytus of corrupting the youth, he turned the tables, questioning their motives and exposing their hypocrisy. "Are you not ashamed to prosecute me for seeking truth?" he asked, turning defense into a moral offensive. This courage demands sacrifice. In Crito, Socrates refused a bribe to escape prison, choosing fidelity to Athens' laws over personal freedom, proving that questioning must be paired with integrity. Imagine questions as swords, forging the armor of wisdom, or as a river, carving canyons through the rock of prejudice. To question is to risk discomfort, alienation, doubt, even ridicule, but it's also to ignite growth. As Nietzsche grappled with Socrates' rationalism, so must you wrestle with your assumptions. Yet this courage is only the beginning. To question deeply, you must first embrace a humbling truth. Your knowledge is but a shadow of what you don't know. Let this lead us to the paradox Socrates cherished most. Ignorance is a gateway to wisdom. Amid the clamor of self-assured voices, on social feeds, in boardrooms, across podiums, where everyone claims to know, Socrates offers a radical antidote. Admit your ignorance, and there, in that humbling confession, lies the seed of true wisdom. Imagine the sting of doubt, that moment when your certainties crumble like sandcastles before the tide. This is where Socrates stood, after the oracle at Delphi declared him the wisest man in Athens. Perplexed, he set out to disprove it, as recounted in Plato's Apology. He questioned poets, whose verses flowed beautifully but lacked understanding. Craftsmen, skilled yet blind to their limits. Politicians, puffed with pride but empty of insight. "I am wiser," he concluded, "because I know that I know nothing." This paradox, embracing ignorance as a starting point of knowledge, is his gift to you, modern warrior. Picture a lesser-known scene from Plato's Meno. Socrates engages a slave boy, uneducated and unassuming, guiding him through questions to recollect a geometric truth about doubling a square. With no teaching, only inquiry, the boy discovers the answer within himself. Socrates smiles. Knowledge is already in the soul. Questions merely awaken it. This isn't arrogance, but humility, a recognition that wisdom begins when we shed a pretense of omniscience. His influence cascades through time. Plato's theory of forms grew from this idea of innate knowledge. Aristotle's empiricism refined it by grounding truth in observation. Augustine saw it as divine illumination. Nietzsche, in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, wrestled with Socrates' humility as both decadent and profound. Today, scientists like Carl Sagan echo this, admitting the vast unknown to push discovery forward. Practically, apply this humility daily. In debates, ask, "What if I'm wrong?" When faced with a career choice, probe, "What don't I know about this path?" Keep a journal of assumptions. List what you know about politics, relationships, or purpose, then challenge each with evidence. This mirrors Socrates' dialogues, where he dismantled false wisdom with relentless curiosity. In Euthyphro, he questions a priest's claim to piety. "What is holiness?" he asks, exposing contradictions that leave Euthyphro flustered. For you, this might mean questioning societal norms. Why chase wealth over meaning? Or personal biases? Why fear failure? Metaphors illuminate this. Ignorance is fertile soil where wisdom's tree takes root. Socrates is a mirror reflecting your pretensions back at you. In Apology, he warns, the greatest harm comes from the silent majority that submits to everything. Your silence, your unacknowledged ignorance, breeds stagnation. Embrace the discomfort of not knowing. It's a spark of growth. In your workplace, admit gaps to learn from mentors. In life, seek diverse perspectives to broaden your lens. This humility fueled Socrates' defiance at his trial, where he refused to flatter the jury, choosing truth over survival. Yet knowing your ignorance is only the first step. It demands action, a life scrutinized, tested, lived deliberately. As Socrates' questions peeled away illusions, they revealed a deeper call, to examine the very fabric of your existence. Let us now turn to his most famous admonition, one that challenges you to live with intention or not at all, the unexamined life. When the world's injustices weigh heavy, a betrayed trust, a system rigged against the truth, Socrates' voice cuts through. Examine your life, or forfeit its worth. His most searing proclamation, from Apology, rings eternal. The unexamined life is not worth living. Picture him at his trial, facing 500 Athenian jurors, his life hanging in the balance. Accused of corrupting the youth and impiety, he doesn't beg for mercy. Instead, he challenges the court. "You think I harm Athens, but I aid you to question your own souls. An unexamined life is no life at all." This isn't defiance for its own sake. It's a plea for authenticity, for a life forged in reflection rather than drifted through in blindness. In Plato's Phaedo, as hemlock numbs his limbs, Socrates examines death itself, asking, "Is death merely the soul's release from a body?" His friends weep, but he consoles them with philosophy, turning fear into inquiry. This relentless self-scrutiny shaped history. Plato's dialogues immortalized it. Aristotle's ethics built upon it. Kierkegaard's existentialism wrestled with its weight, and modern thinkers like Sartre echoed in their call for authentic existence. Today, activists like Angela Davis reflect this, examining systemic racism to live purposefully against oppression. Practically, make examination your daily practice. Each evening, journal. What did I do today that aligned with my values? Where did I fall short? Question your choices. Why stay in a draining job? Why avoid that difficult conversation? Socrates' method in Crito shows this. Offered escape from prison, he examines whether fleeing is just, concluding that loyalty to Athens' laws outweighs personal survival. You might ask, am I conforming to expectations or living my truth? In relationships, probe, do I listen to understand or to respond? This builds integrity, aligning actions with principles. Metaphors guide us. Life is a book, unread unless you turn its pages with intention. Examination is a lantern illuminating the shadows of habit. In Apology, Socrates warns that unexamined lives breed corruption, as when Athenians followed demagogues without scrutiny. Today, This mirrors blind allegiance to trends or ideologies. Resist by questioning. Why trust that influences advice? What data backs that policy? This examination isn't navel-gazing. It's liberation, freeing you from autopilot to live deliberately. Yet examination alone isn't enough. It must point to a higher aim. Socrates believed the examined life leads to virtue, the compass that steers through chaos. As his trial revealed his unwavering commitment to truth, so must your scrutiny guide you to the soul's true north. Let us now explore how virtue becomes a compass that directs a life well lived. In the storm of doubt, when choices blur and the world tempts you with shortcuts, Socrates offers a steadfast guide. Virtue is the soul's compass, pointing true north toward the good life. He taught, as in Plato's Meno, that virtue is knowledge. To know the good is to do the good. Picture him in Crito, confined in a dim prison cell, his friend urging him to escape the death sentence. Socrates refuses, questioning, "Is it just to break the laws that raise me, even if they wrong me?" His choice, to honor justice over survival, shows virtue as a deliberate act, not a fleeting feeling. This shines in his dialogues with the youth of Athens, as in Laches, where he probes generals on courage, concluding it's not just battlefield valor but moral steadfastness. His influence endures. The Stoics, like Epictetus, built on this, teaching that virtue alone brings happiness. Augustine fused it with divine grace. Even modern ethicists like Martha Nussbaum draw on Socratic virtue for global justice. Today, figures like Nelson Mandela embody this, choosing forgiveness over vengeance after decades of imprisonment. Practically, cultivate virtue by aligning actions with principles. Before deciding, ask, is this honest? Is it just? In conflicts, choose empathy over anger. Socrates listened to opponents, seeking truth over victory. In Protagoras, he debates whether virtue can be taught, concluding it's nurtured through reflection. Try this. List your core values, honesty, courage, compassion, and measure daily actions against them. In your career, resist cutting corners for profit. In relationships, prioritize trust over convenience. Metaphors clarify. Virtue is a North Star, guiding through temptation's fog. The soul is ship-steaded by its moral rudder. Socrates' life proves this. In Apology, he rejects flattery, stating, "I'd rather die than live falsely." Today, this counters corruption. Think of whistleblowers exposing corporate greed. Virtue isn't perfection but persistence, a daily recommitment to the good. Yet virtue shines brightest when tested by truth's crucible. As Socrates' life culminated in his trial, his unwavering principles faced their ultimate challenge. Let us now turn to that defining moment where truth itself stood on trial. When death looms and the world demands your silence, Socrates shows that truth is worth more than life itself. In 399 BCE, as depicted in Plato's Apology, he stands before 500 jurors, accused of impiety and corrupting Athens' youth. Unbowed, he declares, "I will speak the truth, for I am no clever orator but a seeker of it." His trial isn't just a legal battle. It's a crucible where truth is forged, where he proves that integrity outweighs survival. In Phaedo, as hemlock takes hold, he questions death itself. Is it not the soul's liberation? His calm transforms execution into triumph. This courage shaped history. Plato's dialogue spread his ideas. Aristotle's ethics refined them. Augustine's confessions echoed his moral clarity. And civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. drew on his defiance, facing jail for truth. Today, journalists like Maria Ressa risk all to expose authoritarian lies, embodying Socratic resolve. Practically, live truth by standing firm. When pressured to conform, say, to ignore workplace fraud, ask, what's the cost of silence? Speak out, as Socrates did, questioning accusers like Meletus. Do you not corrupt more by stifling inquiry? In daily life, verify claims, check sources, challenge rumors. Keep a truth log to track when you uphold honesty over ease. Metaphors frame this. Truth is an unbreakable chain binding soul to purpose. Socrates a lighthouse weathering the storm of lies. In Crito, he rejects escape, proving truth requires sacrifice. Today, this resists misinformation's tide or societal pressure to conform. Truth isn't passive. It's a battle won through courage and clarity. In the swirl of modern life, where voices clash in echo chambers and screens drown out the quiet of reflection, Socrates offers a lifeline, the power of dialogue, where truth emerges not from shouting, but from listening and questioning together. Picture him in the shaded colonnades of Athens' Lyceum, surrounded by eager youths like Alcibiades or cautious elders like Crito. As depicted in Plato's Symposium, Socrates engages in a banquet of ideas, debating love's nature with poets and philosophers. He doesn't lecture. He asks, "What is love's purpose?" and listens, guiding each speaker to unravel their own contradictions. His method, dialogue as a dance of inquiry, turns adversaries into partners, seeking truth over victory. No one learns alone, he might say, drawing others into the shared pursuit of wisdom. This dialogue shines in Theaetetus, where Socrates probes a young mathematician. What is knowledge? Through questions, he leads Theaetetus to see knowledge as justified true belief, a cornerstone echoed by Plato's epistemology, Aristotle's logic, and later thinkers like Locke and Kant. Even Nietzsche, in Beyond Good and Evil, grudgingly admired Socratic dialogue's rigor, though he saw it as overly rational. Today, dialogue lives in forums like restorative justice circles or public intellectuals like Cornel West, who engage diverse voices to uncover shared truths. Practically, harness dialogue in your life. In conflicts, at work, with friends, pause and ask open-ended questions. What do you mean by fairness? Or why does this matter to you? This mirrors Socrates' Elenchus, peeling away assumptions. At a team meeting, instead of asserting, ask, what perspectives are we missing? Practice active listening. Summarize others' views before responding, ensuring mutual understanding. In Gorgias, Socrates dismantles a rhetorician's claim that persuasion trumps truth, showing dialogue's power to expose sophistry. You might do this when navigating misinformation. Ask a colleague spreading a rumor, what's your source? Fostering clarity without confrontation. Metaphors illuminate. Dialogue is a river, merging streams of thought into a deeper current. Socrates a weaver, threading questions into tapestries of insight. In Apology, he describes his role. I go about persuading you, young and old, to care for your souls. Today, this counters polarized debates. Think of social media feuds where no one listens. Instead, host a Socratic seminar, gather friends, pose a question like what is success, and explore together, banning interruptions. This builds community and wisdom. Yet dialogue's power lies in its demand for humility. You must listen as fiercely as you question. As Socrates engaged all, from slaves to statesmen, he showed that truth respects no hierarchy. This leads us our next lesson, living simply, as Socrates did, to focus on what truly matters. You're watching Socratic Spark. If his philosophy sparks something in you, subscribe now and keep the flame of knowledge alive. When the world tempts you with excess, status, wealth, endless distractions, Socrates whispers, true wisdom lies in simplicity, in stripping life to its essentials. Barefoot, clad in a single tunic, he wandered Athens, as Xenophon notes in Memorabilia, owning nothing but his questions. In Apology, he declares, I have no concern for what most people desire, wealth, reputation, but for truth and virtue. His sparse life wasn't poverty but freedom, unburdened by material chains to focus on the soul's pursuit. In Phaedo, as death nears, Socrates dismisses worldly comforts, joking about his simple needs while exploring the soul's immortality. This simplicity shaped Plato's ascetic ideals. Stoic contentment, Epictetus in Charidion echoes it, and Thoreau's Walden, which mirrors Socratic minimalism. Today, minimalists like Marie Kondo or activists like Vandana Shiva live this, prioritizing meaning over excess. Practically, simplify your life. Order possessions. Donate what doesn't serve purpose. Limit digital noise, unfollow distracting accounts. Set screen time boundaries. In Crito, Socrates' reject escapes complexity, choosing death's simplicity too. Uphold justice. Ask, what do I need to live well? In budgeting, prioritize experiences over objects. In work, focus on impact, not titles. Metaphors guide. Wisdom is a clear spring, unclouded by excess. Socrates a traveler with a light pack, journeying toward truth. In a consumerist age, simplicity resists the clutter of ads or societal pressure to keep up. Journal your priorities, family, growth, integrity, and align choices with them. Simplicity clarifies purpose, but purpose demands resilience against external pressures. As Socrates lived unswayed, so must you cultivate inner strength to stand firm. Let us explore this in the fire of conviction. In a world that bends you toward compromise, where fear whispers to conform, Socrates lights a fire, conviction, the unyielding commitment to live your truth. In Apology, Facing Death, he proclaims, "A man worth anything does not reckon whether his course leads to safety or danger." His trial wasn't just a defense. It was a stand for principle, choosing truth over life. In Crito, he rejects escape, arguing, "To wrong the state, even unjustly, is to wrong myself." This conviction inspired Plato's philosopher kings, Aristotle's virtuous mien, and Augustine's moral courage. Modern heroes like Rosa Parks, refusing to move on that Montgomery bus, echo Socrates' resolve. In Euthyphro, he challenges a priest's piety, showing conviction isn't blind faith but reasoned commitment. Practically, build conviction. Define your non-negotiables, honesty, justice, and test decisions against them. When pressured to lie, ask, "Does this betray my core?" In Gorgias, Socrates argues true power is self-mastery, not manipulation. Practice this. Say no to unethical requests, like fudging reports. Reflect weekly. Where did I stand firm? Where did I waver? Metaphors frame this. Conviction is a fire unquenched by fear's winds. Socrates a rock against the tide of opinion. Today, this resists peer pressure or corrupt systems. Like whistleblowers, stand tall, even alone. Conviction fuels action, but action must align with justice. As Socrates faced Athens' verdict, he showed justice as the soul's ultimate guide. Let us turn to this principle next. When injustice shadows your path, a lie rewarded, a truth silenced, Socrates offers justice as the soul's guide, the principle that aligns life with virtue. In Republic, he asks, "What is justice?" guiding Glaucon to see it as harmony within the soul and state, where each part fulfills its role. At his trial and Apology, he embodies this, refusing to flatter jurors. Justice is to speak truth, not to please. His influence shapes Plato's ideal state, Aristotle's distributive justice, and Rawls' modern theories. Figures like Gandhi, practicing nonviolent justice, reflect Socratic integrity. In Crito, Socrates chooses death over injustice, honoring Athens' laws despite their flaws. Practically, live justly. In conflicts, ask, "Is my response fair?" In decisions, weigh harm versus good. In Gorgias, Socrates argues justice benefits the door most, purifying the soul. Advocate for fairness. Call out bias at work, support equitable policies. Keep a justice log. Note actions that uphold or undermine fairness. Metaphors clarify. Justice is the soul's compass, guiding through moral fog. Socrates a judge weighing truth scales. In an unjust world, think corporate greed or systemic bias. Justice anchors you. Yet justice requires legacy, living so your actions ripple forward. As Socrates' death inspired Plato, so must your life inspire others. Let us explore this final call. When your days draw to a close, what will you leave behind? Socrates answers, a legacy of a life lived truthfully, inspiring others to question and grow. In Phaedo, as hemlock takes hold, he comforts disciples, saying, "Do not mourn, seek truth as I have." His death wasn't an end but a spark, igniting Plato's Academy, Aristotle's Lyceum, and centuries of thought, Stoicism, Enlightenment, civil rights. In Symposium, his love for wisdom inspires Alcibiades' devotion, showing legacy through influence. Today, teachers like bell hooks or leaders like Wang Arimathai echo this, planting seeds for change. Socrates' legacy is his method, questions that outlive him. Practically, build your legacy. Mentor others, share knowledge at work, guide youth. In Apology, Socrates says, "I'm your awakener." Write your values, live them visibly. Volunteer, create art, words, actions that inspire. Reflect, how will I be remembered? Metaphors frame this. Legacy is a tree, its roots your actions, its branches future lives. Socrates a star, guiding long after fading. In a fleeting world, live deliberately as he did. When the world's chaos endless notifications, fractured relationships, competing ambitions, threatens to drown your spirit, Socrates offers a beacon, the pursuit of inner harmony, where the soul aligns its desires, reason, and actions into a symphony of purpose. In Plato's Republic, Socrates envisions justice as harmony within the soul, where reason rules appetite and spirit, much like a city where each class fulfills its role. Picture him in the Agora, engaging Thrasymachus, a fiery sophist who claims might makes right. Is justice not the soul's balance? Socrates asks, as recounted in Book 4, guiding his opponent to see that true power lies not in domination but in inner order. His calm in this debate, despite Thrasymachus' bluster, mirrors his life, a man who, in Xenophon's Memorabilia, lived simply, needing only bread and questions to thrive. At his trial and apology, he embodies his harmony, declaring, "I do nothing but persuade you to care for your souls," his voice steady even as death looms. This pursuit shaped history. Plato's vision of the philosopher king stems from this ideal of balanced wisdom. Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics refines it, defining happiness as virtuous activity. Stoics like Marcus Aurelius journaled to maintain inner peace, and modern psychologists like Carl Rogers echoed Socratic harmony in their focus on self-actualization. Today, leaders like the Dalai Lama, advocating mindfulness amid conflict, reflect this balance, aligning actions with compassion. Practically, seek harmony daily. Start with self-awareness. Each morning, meditate for 10 minutes, asking, "What desires pull me today?" In Phaedo, Socrates examines fear as he faces death, concluding, "The soul, when ordered, fears nothing." Apply this. When anger surges in an argument, pause and ask, "Is this reaction rational?" Journal nightly. Did my actions reflect my values? This mirrors Socrates' method in Charmides, where he probes temperance, revealing it as self-knowledge. At work, balance ambition with ethics. Question, does this promotion align with my integrity? In relationships, harmonize needs. Ask your partner, what do we both value? To align goals. Metaphors illuminate. The soul is a lyre, its strings tuned by reason. Socrates a conductor orchestrating inner peace. In a world of overstimulation, think social media's dopamine traps or workplace burnout. Harmony resists chaos. Practice minimalism. Declutter your space, keeping only what serves purpose. In Symposium, Socrates' love for wisdom over luxury shows harmony simplicity. Try a value audit. List priorities, family, growth, truth. Then cut activities misaligned with them. This pursuit isn't easy. It demands discipline to align thought, emotion, and action. In Apology, Socrates warns, wealth does not bring virtue, but virtue brings all else. Modern warriors face this challenge, resisting consumerism's pull or societal pressure to perform. Like Yusufzai, who balances education advocacy with personal faith, you can align your life's parts into a cohesive whole. Yet harmony requires resilience to external storms. As Socrates maintained balance amid Athens' turmoil, so must you cultivate strength to endure life's trials. Let us now explore this resilience, the anchor that holds firm against adversity's waves. When life's tempests, loss, failure, betrayal, threaten to capsize your spirit, Socrates offers an anchor, resilience, the unyielding strength to endure and grow through adversity. In Crito, imprisoned and facing execution, he refuses escape, stating, "To wrong the state, even unjustly, is to wrong my soul." This isn't passive acceptance, but active resilience, choosing principle over survival. Picture him in Phaedo, as hemlock numbs his limbs, discussing the soul's immortality with a smile. Is death not a liberation? His calm transforms tragedy into triumph, showing resilience as a choice to find meaning in suffering. This anchor shaped history. Plato's Timaeus builds on Socratic endurance. Aristotle's Ethics emphasize resilience as virtue's practice, and Stoics like Epictetus taught, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Existentialists like Camus, wrestling with life's absurdity, drew on Socratic defiance. Today, figures like Nelson Mandela, enduring 27 years in prison yet emerging unbroken, embody this resilience, forging purpose from pain. Practically, build resilience. When setbacks hit, a job loss, a broken relationship, ask, what can I learn here? In Apology, Socrates faces death, saying, "No evil can happen to a good man." Journal failures. Write, "What strength did this reveal?" Practice gratitude. List 3 things daily that ground you. In conflicts, use Socratic questioning. Is this setback permanent? To reframe challenges. At work, when criticized, ask, "How can I grow from this?" Mirroring Socrates' dialogue in Latches, where he redefined courage as endurance through inquiry. Metaphors guide. Resilience is an anchor, steadying your ship in storms. Socrates a mountain, unmoved by Athens' wrath. In a world of instant gratification, think fleeting trends or quick fixes. Resilience counters fragility. Try a resilience plan. Set small, achievable goals post-setback, like learning a skill after failure. In Memorabilia, Xenophon notes Socrates' physical endurance in war. Marching barefoot, a model for mental stamina. Practice mindfulness. Meditate 5 minutes daily to center yourself. Resilience isn't stoicism but growth. Mandela's forgiveness, like Socrates' refusal to hate his accusers, shows strength through adversity. Yet resilience serves a greater aim, building community, as Socrates did with his disciples. Let us turn to this collective strength, where shared pursuit binds us. When isolation creeps in, amid digital divides or personal struggles, Socrates reminds us, true strength lies in community, where shared inquiry forges bonds stronger than stone. In Symposium, he dines with friends, debating love's essence, his questions weaving a tapestry connection. Does love seek what it lacks? His dialogues, as Plato records, weren't solitary but communal, uniting Athenians from slaves to nobles. In Apology, he calls himself Athens' gadfly, stinging the city toward collective wisdom, not for glory but for its soul. This shaped history. Plato's academy fostered communal learning. Aristotle's Lyceum continued it, and early Christians built communities on Socratic dialogue's model. Modern movements. Think civil rights collectives or Greta Thunberg's climate networks. Echo this, uniting diverse voices for truth. In Euthyphro, Socrates engages a priest, showing all can contribute to shared understanding. Practically, build community. Host a Socratic circle. Gather friends. Pose, "What is happiness?" and listen deeply. In Gorgias, Socrates shows dialogue power to unite, not divide. At work, ask, "How can we collaborate better?" In neighborhoods, start book clubs or discussion groups. Volunteer, soup kitchens, mentorship, mirroring Socrates' service to Athens youth. Log connections, note weekly who you uplifted. Metaphors frame this. Community is a chorus, harmonizing diverse voices. Socrates a bridge linking souls. In polarized times, think online tribalism. Community heals. Practice active inclusion. Invite differing views, as Socrates did with opponents. Community thrives on purpose, but purpose demands authenticity. As Socrates lived true, so must you embody your essence. Let us explore this call to authenticity. In a world of masks, where social media curates facades and society demand conformity, Socrates summons you to authenticity, living as your true self unapologetically. In Apology, he declares, "I'd rather die than live falsely," rejecting flattery to speak truth at his trial. Picture him in Alcibiades' eye, guiding a young noble to know himself. What are you beyond your titles? His life, simple, questioning, unswayed by wealth, embodied this authenticity, as Xenophon notes in Memorabilia. Plato's self-knowledge fueled Aristotle's ethics, Kierkegaard's individuality, and modern thinkers like Brené Brown, who champions vulnerability. Activists like Harvey Milk lived authentically, defying norms for truth. In Phaedo, Socrates' final moments, calm, true to his principles, inspire authenticity's power. Practically, live authentically. Reflect, what mask do I wear? Journal answers nightly. In Latches, Socrates probes courage's authenticity in action. At work, share honest ideas, even if risky. In relationships, express your feelings. Ask, am I hiding my needs? Align actions with values. If you value creativity, pursue it despite naysayers. Metaphors guide. Authenticity is a flame, burning through pretense. Socrates a mirror reflecting your true face. In a conformist world, Think corporate molds or social trends. Authenticity liberates. Practice vulnerability. Admit mistakes, as Socrates did in admitting ignorance. Authenticity fuels growth, but growth seeks transcendence. As Socrates transcended death, so can you rise above limits. Let us explore this final ascent. When life's weight, routine, doubt, mortality threatens to anchor you, Socrates points upward, toward transcendence, where the soul rises above the mundane to touch the eternal. In Phaedo, facing death, he muses, is the soul not immortal, seeking truth beyond this world? His questions lift disciples from despair to wonder, transforming execution into a philosophical ascent. In Symposium, he describes love as a ladder to the divine, each step a quest for higher truth. This ascent inspired Plato's forms, Aristotle's prime mover, Augustine's divine vision, and mystics like Rumi. Modern seekers, think Carl Sagan's cosmic perspective or Malala's spiritual resilience, echo this transcendence. In Republic, Socrates' allegory of the cave urges us to climb from shadows to light. Practically, seek transcendence. Meditate daily. Ask, what is beyond my ego? In Meno, Socrates shows knowledge as recollection of eternal truths. Pursue or stargaze, create art, volunteer, mirroring Socrates' wonder in Theaetetus. Journal. What lifts me above daily struggles? Align with purpose. If teaching calls you, mentor youth. Metaphors frame this. Transcendence is a mountain peak, reached through inquiry. Socrates a guide to the stars. In a materialist world, transcendence reconnects you to meaning. Like Sagan's pale blue dot, see life's vastness. As we stand once more in the shadowed courtroom of Athens, 399 BCE, the air heavy with the weight of judgment, Socrates gazes, unflinchingly at his accusers. The hemlock awaits, yet his voice remains steady, his words a beacon across centuries. The unexamined life is not worth living. Or perhaps we hear him in the quiet of your own heart, asking that piercing question, what is the life you're living, and is it truly yours? Or we feel the jolt of his bold truth, shattering our illusions. Most of what you claim to know is but a veil of ignorance. These moments, his trial, his questions, his defiance, aren't relics of a distant past but living flames, illuminating your path, modern warrior, through the fog of today's chaos. Socrates' wisdom distills into a timeless creed. Ignorance is a seed of knowledge, virtue the compass of the soul, courage the fire of questioning, and the examined life the only one worth living. Reflect on his journey. In the Agora, he challenged warriors and poets alike, as in Plato's Laches, proving that true bravery lies in probing one's assumptions. In Apology, he embraced ignorance as wisdom's root, teaching us to admit what we don't know. His refusal to escape in Crito showed virtue as non-negotiable, a North Star guiding through temptation. At his trial, he made truth his shield, standing firm against injustice. His dialogues, from Symposium to Phaedo, built communities of inquiry, urged authenticity, and lifted the soul toward transcendence. This legacy, echoed by Plato's Academy, Aristotle's Ethics, Augustine's Confessions, and modern truth-seekers like Martin Luther King Jr. or Malala Yousafzai, lives in you when you question, reflect, and act with integrity. To honor Socrates is not to memorize his words, but to embody his spirit. Pause each day to ask, what do I truly know? In conflict, probe, is this just? In doubt, seek virtue over comfort. Start small. Journal your values. Question one assumption daily. Listen deeply in dialogue. In a world of misinformation and conformity, where algorithms dictate beliefs and power overshadows truth, Socrates' call is urgent. Be the gadfly, stinging your world awake. Like him, face your trials, be they personal failures or societal wrongs, with the courage to live authentically. His life proves that truth, though costly, is eternal, that a single question can shift the soul, that a life examined is a life transcendent. As the hemlock stilled his breath, Socrates smiled, his final act a testament to a soul unbound by fear, tethered only to truth. Let his voice linger in you now, whispering across the ages. Live not as the world demands, but as your examined soul commands. In that pursuit, you become not just a warrior, but a light eternal. This was just one spark of wisdom, but there's so much more ahead. Join the journey, subscribe to Socratic Spark, and let philosophy guide your path to success.